As someone who is attempting, slowly, to write her own memoir, I've learned a few things. First, my family has amazing stories, and I think that's will be important to our episode today. Secondly, I don't know as much about my family as I thought I did, so I have to do some research. Third, this is a difficult process, far more than I thought, to just explore the experiences in my family, but also how they affected themselves and me. In the process, I've thought about how I would write these stories if I were just writing a novel as fiction, which may happen. In fact, maybe fiction is a good way to tell some stories, especially if it's not possible to know all the details. My guest today is first time novelist Patricia Walker Johnson of Roswell, Georgia. Stay tuned. As I said, my guest today is first time novelist Patricia Walker Johnson. Her novel, The Mountains Don't Forget The Life and Journey of Prudence Massey, is being published by Colorful Crow Publishing of Calhoun, Georgia. And I believe that's happening this month, Patricia?
Yes, it is. It's being published this month. I'll be doing my launch at Bookmiser in Marietta on August the 29th from 6 to 7:30 p.m.
Okay, great. So, we're going to talk today about her book and her inspiration and her background. So, Pat, welcome to Dialogues with Creators, where we talk about creative processes with creative people. And congratulations on your novel. I'd like you to tell us about how you came to take on the task of writing this story.
Well, I had always been fascinated, even as a child, about my great grandmother. And I was fascinated because it seemed like every time we walked into a room where they were talking about her, the conversation would stop. So I thought, well, she must be very interesting or something must be wrong with her. So I decided a long time ago that I wanted to write about her.
Okay. What is some of your writing experiences before now? Is this just something your first time?
Well, I have written some poetry and it's been published in local newspapers.
Mhm.
And I've also written a couple of anthologies, which have been, included in the anthologies. And I also won a writing contest in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Oh, how did you get connected to that in Winston-Salem?
Well, my a classmate, I saw online that he was having a contest. He owned a bookstore in Winston-Salem, and so I just entered the contest. And
Oh, and was that poetry?
no, it was not. It was a short story. He gave us a subject to write on, and it was about a like there was a place in his backyard that looked kind of suspicious, and he thought maybe something was buried there. So he wanted us to write a story about what could possibly be there. And so I wrote it and
Oh, wow. That could be historical or, Twilight Zoney. Well, let me okay, so I'm learning something here, so I might take a sidetrack. You say you were in an online class? When was this and what was the class?
didn't take a class with him. I just saw online that he was having this contest.
Oh, okay.
But I did take some classes with Ann Hyde.
Oh, I see. So when did that happen? And how did you get to know her?
Well, it happened a couple of years ago, and
Oh.
I met her through my sister, actually. My sister had read her books.
Mhm.
Of course, we're both from North Carolina, that's where we grew up, and she found them very interesting because they were about Appalachia. So she told me about the books, and I read them, and we both just fell in love with them, and,
Mhm.
we saw where Anne Hite was having a book signing, so we went to that, and that's actually how we first met her. And then she had some classes, going on, and so
Oh.
I took the classes. I really didn't know how to write, and I
Mhm.
thought, "Well, I better learn how to write before I try to write a book." So
Mhm.
I did take her classes. She had several of them.
Oh, that's very interesting. She was on my podcast last year when her book about Lucille Franks came out, and she didn't really we didn't really talk about her teaching writing that much. We mostly talked about the book she had. So, yes, I have met her too, and she's wonderful for mentoring and encouraging writers. She encourages me a lot. So, in working in her class, is it a class like at a college or is it just a class she teaches individually?
Just some classes she would teach
Okay.
individually, and I'm not sure she's doing that anymore.
Okay. Yeah, that could be very time consuming if you're trying to do your own writing as well. Okay. And she lives in Roswell somewhere in that area, doesn't she?
I believe she lives in Powder Springs.
Okay. Okay. You tell us why you're interested in your aunt's story and deciding to write about her and that. So, since this is a family story to some extent, tell me more about your childhood and upbringing. You say you're from North Carolina at Winston-Salem or more to the west?
Actually from, North Carolina, but the foothills of North Carolina.
Okay. Okay.
I grew up in a small little town called Hildebrand, North Carolina,
Uh-huh.
which is right at the foothills of the mountains.
Yes.
And I graduated from, Hildebrand High School, and then I
Mhm.
went on to Lees McRae College in Banner Elk, North Carolina, and graduated from there.
Mhm.
And then I took a, 6 months training in a Memorial Mission Hospital in Asheville to become
Oh.
a medical records scientist.
Oh.
Well, not scientist exactly, but a medical record, person, and so my first job was in Valdez, North Carolina,
Mhm.
and then I went on to, become a protocol coordinator for Emory University Hospital, and then I took a few years off to raise my children, and then
Mhm.
I started working for Colonial Life, and the last job I had was the territory executive assistant for the state of Georgia for Colonial Life.
Oh, okay. So you've had a varied career in insurance and also in the medical field as well. And I think that probably does come into your story a little bit because of the experiences you have with Prudence Massey in Florida. So, how many children do you have? Hello? Did I lose you? Hello. How many children do you have?
I have 2 grown children.
Okay. All right. And about how long ago then did you start working on the book about Prudence Massey?
Well, it was a long time. Like I say, I had to first learn how to write a book,
Hmm.
and then, well, I did that, took those classes, and then I
Yeah.
started working on it. It's probably been a good while back. I don't know exactly
Okay.
how many years,
Yeah.
but
Right. Well, people ask me how long it takes to write a novel, and it's at least a year and sometimes more like 5. So,
no,
yeah.
it took me longer than a year to write it
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
I just had to, think about what I was gonna write. I wrote a chapter at a time
Mhm.
and, had it reviewed, and then I just kept writing chapter after chapter till it became a novel.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, we're gonna get into that a little bit more, but, I did wanna mention again how you wrote in the foreword about how when you were a child, you'd hear your older women in your family talking about Prudence Massey, and then they'd stop talking, and so you always wondered what that was about. So was that a real inspiration to write the book, I guess?
It was, and I've
Mhm.
talked to several cousins, and they've had the same experience. Actually, my great-grandmother's name was not Prudence Massey. I did
Okay.
change the name, and
Ah,
yes,
okay. But was she from North Carolina mountains?
she was.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I wondered about that, if, how much of how much of it was exactly the same and different. In fact, I don't know, do you wanna talk about how much of it was actually her or not actually her?
Yeah, sure, I can talk about that.
Okay.
I took I took things that I had heard, things that my mother had told me and that I'd heard from other relatives, and then I just expanded on those, and I made up stories about them.
Okay.
And because I had no idea how she had met her husbands. I didn't know
Okay.
anything about that. I didn't know how she had I don't wanna give away too much of the book, but
Right.
I didn't know how she had ever reconciled with her sons once she left.
Mhm.
It was it was all a mystery to me, so I
Mhm.
just had to expand on what I had heard and make up stories about them and
I
use my
see.
imagination.
Okay. So, alright, so like you say, I don't wanna give away too much of the story, but as I was reading it, I did, it's written in a way that I just sort of accepted that it was, like 99% the case with, you have to put in dialogue and stuff, and change the names, but you would say it's maybe more 50%, uh, imagination or what? Can you give a number?
I think it's I think it's more than that. It
Okay.
might be, like you said, not quite 99%, I guess, maybe 75 to 80% would be
Imagine
fiction.
would be
Yeah, and
fiction.
imagination.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. That gives it a whole different, kind of experience then, because I'm kind of thinking about writing about my mother's family, and it's gonna be a lot more just changing names and a few situations,
Right.
but I don't know about that. So, yeah, I found that opening statement, pretty provocative, and so, I wanted to ask that question. So how did you come up with the title? I find titles difficult.
Well, that was very interesting. Again, I don't wanna give away too much about the
Mhm.
book, but
Yeah.
first I had made the title as Prudence and Peppermint
Oh.
because peppermint is mentioned in the book.
Yeah.
There's an interesting story about peppermint.
Mhm.
And, so when the book was being published, I talked to my publisher about it, and she thought we should change the name to something about the mountains because
Yeah.
the mountains are mentioned all through
Yes.
the, book. So we changed it. We came up with that title, The Mountains
Yes.
Don't Forget.
I would say I think that was a good choice. Not that it's I get to have a call, but it was yeah, the peppermint did figure into things, but it was kind of towards the end where ultimately she is deeply affected by her mountains. So, yeah, there were times when I was reading it, I have to be real honest, I got mad at her. You know, it's like but then I got mad at her family because of how it all got started and I just would get so frustrated with the choices that were made at times, but then I had to remind myself, well, people do make these choices. I might not like them. That's my problem in this case of reading fiction. You gotta go with what the story is. So, I was just it was very engaging to keep me reading about what was going to happen and some of the twists and turns that I wasn't expecting. So,
Right.
I commend you on that because it's very hard to do that, especially in a first book. So, let's talk about your process a little bit. I don't know if you've heard this expression, maybe Anne has talked about people who are either pantsers or planners. Have you heard that expression when they write?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, which one would you say that you are?
I think I'm more of a pantser
Really?
because I didn't really have a ha like, I didn't have an outline. I didn't know from chapter to chapter what I was really gonna say.
Ah.
I had just had to give it a lot of thought. But I would say that I did try to keep the dates, like, going in order.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
so I guess in that sense, I might not have been a pantser. I might have been what was the other term?
A planner.
I might have been a planner in
Yeah.
that respect, but I think overall I'm more of a pantser.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that question always gets me kind of pushes me back, makes me think because I like to have outlines and I like to know where I'm going, but I'm not sure you can. There's a certain aspect of writing fiction where you just have to, like the song Let It Go, you just have to start writing and see what these people say and do in your
I
head.
would agree with that.
You just and they surprise you. It's you like, "Where in the world did that come from?" And
Right.
because so yeah, I think we have that experience, but we do have to have a destination at the same time, And you couldn't have her going to New York and becoming a Broadway star or something like that. That wouldn't quite, fit. So, can I ask though, did she did she eventually marry well?
She did, yes, and
Yeah.
it
Okay.
followed the storyline. Yeah, she did.
Okay. Okay. So so you say you pretty much worked on it every day and that you tried to do a chapter at a time and not jump around and then get feedback on the chapter as you went.
Yes.
Yeah. And who was giving you the feedback? Anne or some other people?
And she acted as my developmental editor through the
Ah,
book.
excellent. Well, that's
Yes.
a good choice. She would be a great one to do that. Okay.
Yeah, she
So,
agreed to do it, and I was
yeah,
very happy she did.
that's wonderful. Okay. So we've already talked about how you met her. So I got today the or yesterday the announcement about your launch from our co-publisher, and to tell us about your plans for the launch of your book.
Well, I'm gonna bring a bowl of peppermint for everyone.
Okay.
I don't think they'll really understand it until they read the book, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell them that at the launch. And I'm not sure how many I have that have signed up yet, but you do have to register. The
Oh,
event is free, but you have to register to
okay.
attend. And I sure hope your listeners and followers and you will consider coming.
Okay. Yeah. But I
And,
see you have
and
yeah, you have two speakers, two other
yes, I do. Anne and Robert Gwaltney are going to be interviewing me. So
Okay.
they're both published authors, and I think that everyone who's there will enjoy hear them talk too. So I'm
So
really excited about that.
yeah. So how did you meet Robert Gwaltney?
Well, I don't really remember exactly, but I've been to several of his talks. I've just read his books. I thought they were great books, and so
Mhm.
I wanted to read them, and then I went to several of his, launches and his and the talks that he's done, and he's just such a thoughtful and wonderful person. He always would come over and talk to me and ask me about my book, and so I just got to be friends with him through his, online and also his in-person talks that he would do.
Oh, how wonderful. That's so good to know, that he was so outgoing and helpful because, I've been around well-known authors who were not that way. They were they were too proud of their own whatever, and
I
they
know, he is not that way.
no,
He always wants to help you.
that's great.
And I think Anne was well, I know she was good friends with him, and I think she
Ah,
had told him that I was writing a novel.
okay, neat. Um,
And also, I would like to say that my, publisher is gonna be introducing me.
yes.
Vicky McIntyre, she'll
Uh-huh.
be introducing me at the event.
Wonderful, okay. So, in reference to that, then, what books and writers have meant a lot to you as you were developing as a writer and thinking about your book?
Well, I will say that, some of the authors that I've met through, I guess, the years have been Anne with her
Mhm,
Appalachian fiction books, and I've also read Robert's books, The Cicadia Tree, and the last one he has out, Sing Down the Moon, that's the
Sing
title of
Down
it.
the Moon, yes.
Mhm. And then I've enjoyed getting to know Lynn Cullen. She's written several books. The first one I read of hers was Mrs. Poe.
Hmm,
Well, that and then she's also written several others after that that I've read. And
mhm.
then also Carolyn Curry. she's written Sudden Death was the first one that she wrote, and then the last one she's wrote was Trudy's Awakening. She's a
Oh.
very wonderful author. And
Mhm.
then I've also read Kimberly Brock, her
Yes.
book, The Lost Book of Eleanor Dare, which is about North Carolina, the story of, the disappearing colony
Mhm.
in North Carolina and Roanoke Island. That was very interesting.
Mhm.
And also, she's written The Fabled Earth, which was her last book.
Right.
And then I also enjoy Claire Cook. She's moved to, I think she's moved somewhere right down on the coast now of Georgia. But
Mhm.
she wrote all those books about, the dog. One of them was made into a movie. I think a couple of them were made into
Oh.
the Most Loved Dogs series.
Oh.
And then she's written also the Wild Water Walking Club. That's a series too. So she's a great writer, and I guess all those writers have kind of influenced me.
Okay. That's neat. And are they all Georgia? Living in Georgia
They
now?
are. They're all, yeah, they are.
Oh, wow. So that's a Georgia has a wealth of an embarrassment of riches, as they say, when it comes to well-known and well-respected writers now. So, and I've been able to meet a few of them, not as many. I feel sometimes I'm up here in the little corner of the state, and if it really helps to be closer to Atlanta if you want to know people. I don't get down there
That's
much.
great.
I'm getting to the point where I don't even wanna drive on I-75 between
Oh, I know. It's
Ringgold and
always.
Dalton, so much less go all the way to Atlanta. I've spent too much of my life on I-75, let me tell you. So, but,
I
so that's
know. There's so much traffic.
that's a good, wealth of resources for your writing. Well, everybody, after you put out your first book or put out whatever number of book, it's like, well, what's up next? Do you have plans for other works? Or are you just gonna take it easy?
Well, I've been thinking about it. I don't know. I might take one of the characters from the book and write about that person,
Mhm.
make it a series.
Okay. Yeah. Hmm. Who
I
would be
don't
a
know
good
much
person?
about their lives either, so I'd have to do a lot of fiction writing in them if
Yeah.
I would do that. And I've also thought about maybe writing a Christmas book.
Oh, yes. Yeah, everybody needs a Christmas book. I even have one, so
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm anxious to read it.
Yeah. The person, not that this is any advice or anything. The person I liked in your book was the lady that was her landlord.
Oh,
That's
Stella, yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I liked that character. So, that was
she
but
was very
I didn't say too
compassionate.
much. She was what?
Very compassionate.
Yeah, she really, helped her turn her life around and everything.
Yes, she did.
So, yeah. So, at this point, I always ask, if there's anything else you wanna talk about or, continuation of some of the things we've said so far.
Well, I just appreciate the opportunity of being interviewed by you, and it's been a pleasure.
Well, I appreciate your getting on with me and, dealing with this technology. I really appreciate you, speaking with me, and I do want to say, is there a place that people can go if they're interested to come to your launch? Do you have a website or something that they could register at?
Oh, yes, I don't have it right in front of me, Barbara, but it's on my Facebook pages. They
Oh,
can
okay.
find it there.
Okay. So the book will be available to buy on what day?
It'll be available on the 26th of August.
Okay. Very good. And that's gonna be on, Amazon, right?
They can buy it just about anywhere, I think.
Okay, but it's on Amazon, right?
Yes, it is
Yeah,
on Amazon. Now they
okay.
can pre-order it now.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay,
But if they wanna wait until it actually comes out, they can
okay.
do that too.
So, folks, what we're talking about then is the name of the book is The Mountains Don't Forget, and the author is Pat Walker Johnson. So you can pre-order it now. and I think you'll be glad that you did. Is it coming out in hardback or, paperback?
Paperback.
Paperback, okay. Yeah. Hardbacks are interesting, but they are harder to sell, I'm gonna be real honest with you. So, well, I really wanna thank you, Pat, for, joining me today, and I hope that folks will get your book, and, we'll try to get them out to your book launch, which is always fun, and they'll along with meeting you, they'll get to hear from Anne and from Robert Gwaltney as well. So, thank you for thank you for joining me today.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I've had fun.